We welcome Sergey Markov to our bulletin to discuss the latest developments regarding the Ukraine crisis and what could be an action-packed day for German diplomacy. Sergey, good to see you. I hope you're well. Nice to be here. Good. Currently, German Chancellor Scholaf is on his way to Ukraine to, I don't know, de-escalate tensions. We hear a lot about these de-escalating tensions. Are they do they really make any difference? We've just heard Ukraine is willing to withdraw from any application for NATO if it means Russia will not attack its borders. It sounds like it's almost over, these tensions. What do you make of it all?
It's very far from to be over. First of all, it just mentioned by Ukrainian ambassador, or to say more exactly, ambassador of Kiev regime to Great Britain, to United Kingdom, about possibility maybe to postpone. And then it was from Kiev officials was some sentences that it's no, that the course to the NATO is a strategic course of Ukraine. So it's just words. It means nothing. And Russian demands much more. First of all, Russia demands implementation of Minsk agreements, which have been signed by Kiev already 7 years ago, and have been approved by United Nations Security Council. It's number one. Secondly, Russia demands stopping repression in Ukraine, stopping prohibition of Russian language, stopping liberation of all political prisoners, investigation about cases of the war crimes and crimes against humanity which have been made by Kiev repressive regime, and neutrality of Ukraine, which should be a part of constitution. So we demand not from Kiev, we demand from Washington, who occupy Kiev, to stop transformation from Ukraine to anti-Russia, which United States doing by methods of propaganda and political terror.
Okay. Sergey, do you think Russian-U.S. agreements or the relationship between Russia and USA can't be any worse, really, can it? I mean, there seems to be no form of dialogue, no form of getting anywhere. Do you think we're at their worst since the Cold War?
Of course, there wasn't since the Cold War, but it's possible to make this even more worse. It's, can you imagine, how we can accept that Ukraine, which capital Kiev, is first Russian capital. It has been capital of Russia during 3 centuries. And now, and the language of the 80% of the people in Ukraine in Russian, and this language now prohibited. How we can agree with this? And then we have neo-Nazi, the whole neo-Nazi army from different neo-Nazi groups have been formed, which include approximately 20,000 neo-Nazi fighters. They have been formed for terror against those people who for the friendship with Russia. How we can be agree with this? Never. When Russia exists, Russia will be against this. And this is not about Ukraine. It's about aggression of Russia, which has been making by United States of America and Great Britain against Russia through Ukraine.
All right, but at the end of the day, right, Russia has said, as long as Ukraine doesn't join NATO, then all is well. Then I mean, Russia has always said,
No. Russia mentioned that if Ukraine makes the decision not to join NATO, it can help negotiation.
Okay.
But it's only 2% of what should be done. First of all, implementation of Minsk agreement, which has been approved by United Nations Security Council, stopping killing people on Donbass, stopping sharing the Donbass cities every night as they're doing. I myself, 3 nights, been in Donetsk on the international conference. I myself, 3 nights, wake up because of the artillery explosion on the suburbs of Donetsk. I've been in the downtown of Donetsk. Do you think that is good? But these people live here, such conditions, 7 years. Western community should accept either silently or just officially that they impose dictatorship to Ukrainian people, which use the policy of governmental terrorism. And this formula, governmental terrorism, believe me, will be in Russian electorate quite soon. And we want to liberate Ukrainian people from this awful terroristic regime which has been imposed to the Ukraine by Western coalition. So we can easily to come to a diplomatic solution. It's very easily. First of all, Minsk agreement. Secondly, neutrality of Ukraine. Thirdly, denazification, means prohibition of all neo-Nazi groups, disarm of all neo-Nazi groups, and prohibition of glorification of Nazi criminals who worked for Adolf Hitler regime. Then, democratization of Ukraine, liberation of all political prisoners, all political refugees should have right.
Sergey, you've made this huge list. Sergey, you've made a huge list. We need to de-escalate. This needs to stop right now. I mean, you've made a list like about 20 points there. What we need something.
Yes, 20 points. Yes, exactly. I would say probably it will be 25 points. But you look what Vladimir Putin was talking to auditorium, to the Western leaders. 7 years we told about this point. 7 years, and we have blind eyes, closed ears. They just don't want to listen to Russian arguments. Only one case when they started to listen to Russia, when Russia make big military groups on the border. So this is argument for the beginning of diplomatic talks.
Yeah, it sounds very worrying. You know, here's me thinking that with Ukraine saying, look, we're not going to join NATO, with Russia saying we're just doing some military drills on the Belarus-Russian border, nothing's going to happen. China kicking in saying, look, Russia's not going to do anything. It's all going to calm down, but you're saying the complete opposite. You're saying that we are nowhere near the end. Can we not?
We are in a very difficult situation, but we should take the reality. If you want to keep relations with reality, take the major facts. The major facts is not Russian troops come to Americans. No, it's American troops come to the Russian border and occupy first Russian capital, Kyiv city. Americans, they made democracy in Germany. Yes. Americans make democracy in Japan. Yes. Americans make democracy in South Korea. Yes. Americans made democracy in Italy, in Spain. Yes, yes, yes. But Americans didn't make democracy in Afghanistan. Americans didn't make democracy in southern Vietnam. Americans didn't make democracy in Chile with General Pinochet dictatorship. And Americans did make democracy in Ukraine. Americans killed democracy, imposed a repressive regime which hated absolute majority. And a very simple example when I ask everybody. Look, you can go to any Ukrainian city. Kyiv, Kharkiv, Odessa, Nikolaev, Zaporozhye, every city except one, except Lviv. And you can see what language people say talking on the streets. It's Russian language 90%. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine that these people democratically can support the laws which prohibited Russian language as official language. Of course, it's impossible. It's something like if people in America will vote democratically, let's prohibit English language. It's impossible.
Sure.
It's very good. This situation with Russian language, it's very simple for everybody, even for stupid people. A very good example where everybody could see there are no democracy in Ukraine. It's a repressive dictatorship which devoted to the another country interest.
All right, Sergey. Passionate as always. Thanks so much for joining me here on Anews. We'll probably see you tomorrow, no doubt, as you are a regular on our news channel. Thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate your time and your energy and your perspective. Of course, it's very valuable. Thank you, sir. Take care, stay safe, and be safe, especially out there in Donetsk if you're out there. Okay, sir. There you go.